Hello, guys. Welcome back to the D&Y Podcast. We're here in person, as you can see, with our friend Mark.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yep,
It's been a long time,
it's
but
been a very long time.
A very long time.
thanks for being here, Mark, and thank you for being here to this. I believe it's the fourth episode,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. And don't forget to like and subscribe
share this
to
one.
not miss the next episodes, and share this one with your friends.
Yeah,
We'll do the e-bagging
yeah,
at the start of the video this time.
yeah.
Of the podcast. Sorry.
Just want to say, share it with your friends. Don't be selfish, If you got some gold, share it with your loved ones.
That's a good one. Well, we'll start with you, Mark, with this episode. And last time we did an episode that nobody sees because it's our private episode that never got released. I'm not going to go into detail to why, but it never got released. We talked about what was going on in the life of Mark, and he just came back from Greece and was trying to DJ. And I just wanted to ask you, how has the DJing been? And yeah, what have you learned throughout
Amazing.
that life experience?
All right. So, DJing is a very kind of particular job or business, if you want to call it. Depends on how you see it. It's something that is quite different from probably what both of you guys are doing right now, because it relies more on actually being there and spending like 5 to 6 hours on the spot working on what you're supposed to do, and then probably 2 hours behind the scenes, and basically finding a way to entertain an audience for that specific amount of time. So the effort that you put in is probably very different. It's less about being concentrated on very specific tiny details, but it's more about making sure that the overall ambience is good in a certain place. It has been treating me well so far. So I started back like before going to Greece for around 6 months. I used to DJ at small parties, at small events that my university used to host, all of these kind of different things for free. I wouldn't charge anything at all. It was good for networking. It made me meet a lot of different people. It made me go to very different places that I probably never visited before. Get free food maybe in some restaurants, get free drinks in bars, all these kind of things, which were very beneficial in the short term. But then once I came back from Athens, I was also DJing over there, which was pretty nice. I was at a beach club, didn't pay me anything. It was just like, they pay me a bit. It was only just to learn. So it wasn't actually like a contract, or there wasn't an actual salary involved. And then when I came back here, I was like, all right, maybe now it's time to push it up a bit. Maybe now it's time to maybe further those connections, or if it's not about connections anymore, then what actually is it about? Because 5 to 6 hours, couple of nights, does take a toll on you, especially if you have to do some things in the morning. So if I finish DJing at 4, I know that I'm probably gonna like still have to go home, get in my bed, get changed, and then at 6, maybe I'll like maybe 5 or 6, I'll be asleep, and then I have to wake up the next day. Well, let's say at 10 because I have classes. So it definitely takes a toll on your sleep. That's one of the negatives. The good thing though about this kind of job, let's say, is that you kind of get paid to have fun. So it's not really about like, all right, I'm doing something that I don't want to do. I want to procrastinate it, or I want to spend time with my friends and I don't have time. It just mixes both, and it puts them both in like the same time slots. So a lot of times I'm like, all right, bro, like I don't have time to go out with you, Dimitri. I'm sorry, but I'm having that party in 2 days. If you want to come, I'll be DJing there. So I'm basically getting paid to spend time with you and DJing at the same time, which is kind of nice sometimes. So now I arrived at the point where DJing is like, I got what I wanted from DJing. So the networking is there. Know the places, know the people, know the faces. But now the only problem is that there's no money coming in from it. The problem with that, with being a DJ, is that the contracts, or like the minimum salary contracts for DJing, are pretty high. It pays, I think, above like 10 francs above the minimum wage, which is still already something for someone who's just a beginner. So let's say for a party of 5-6 hours, I probably get paid like a good maybe 35 francs an hour, something like that, which is quite reasonable.
That's quite reasonable, yeah.
And yeah, so there's limited spots since there's limited places, especially in Lausanne, so the city that I'm in. There's not that many clubs, there's not that many bars. Like there are a certain amount, but we know that all the people from universities only go to a few specific ones. So how can I manage to get a spot maybe, or find a way to make money if the spots are like that limited? And then if I actually think about, all right, I want to make money this way, then am I willing to sacrifice all my nights to DJ for these different kind of places or not? That was the dilemma for a long time. Then I came up with another idea. I was like, all right, if I want to decide my own hours to DJ, then I probably have to figure out a way to DJ on my own. So independently from bars or restaurants or clubs, it's just I need to make my own events, and then by doing my own events, I can decide when to do them. And since I start to know people right now, then thanks to that network, I could actually bring people in and make a party with them, or like, use them to sell the parties. But I haven't gotten to the point where I could figure out a solution to that problem yet. So that's kind of a.
And to touch back on the connections part, I would find that very interesting if you could elaborate a bit how you made sure that the faces you see or the people you meet, the people that own the bars, the people that manage the clubs and those type of stuff, how you managed to make sure they know who you are and what was your go-to. Did you have a go-to line of presenting yourself, or just to making sure that you know those people, and how did it evolve, or how did it start for you to get to know those people? Because it had to start at some point. Obviously, if you know then a bunch of people, I believe, in that specific niche, then it kind of goes around because everybody knows everybody, I believe. But how did it start? And maybe you had a go-to line, or
So it's people like it when they feel like they're respected, and people do see when you put in all of your heart in the things that you do. So one of the things, for example, is if you're invited, we were invited to DJ in one of the clubs. We had our reputation kind of grow, because people started actually liking our DJing, and people were like, okay, this guy's probably like DJing pretty well. We like the music. We could see that a lot of students were actually enjoying it, and they were looking out for like when our next parties were and all of these kind of different things. So we pulled up to the club to DJ, and I feel like the most important part was to be respectful towards the owner. So as soon as we'd arrive, we'd meet him, we'd greet him, we'd be on time. We tell him, like, we just speak with him, sympathize with him, make sure that everything's okay, understand what kind of like basically what he wants from the event, and do your best to follow these kind of rules throughout the night as well. Like, what was pretty important is to keep things pretty simple. So not annoy him with too many questions, or not ask too much of him, and not use all the generosity he gives you. Kind of be humble about it and be like, all right, thank you very much. And not be, I don't know, don't ask for too much. But then the most important thing, in my opinion, was the energy that you kind of put in. So there's a lot of DJs, they're going to arrive and just going to do their set, and they're going to leave, and they're not going to really be thinking about it. But if you're here, and while you're DJing and while you're doing your set, you're putting in all of your energy, and the people around you see it, and you're trying to hype up the crowd, and you're trying to adjust to it, and the owner sees that you're actually putting in a lot of effort in there, he's gonna add some respect, and he's gonna be like, all right, this guy, I can see maybe his skills aren't the best, because maybe I've only been DJing for like a year and a half now, almost. So I'm probably don't have the best skills, but if he sees that I put in all my energy and that putting in as much, like more effort than anybody else, then the respect is going to be higher. And then if the respect is higher, then you can have better conversations with him. You can sit down with him more. He's going to invite you to come play more. So it's basically about being there, being committed, being on time, showing respect. And the most important thing of all is just putting in as much effort as possible.
Did you also network with like business owners too?
So
like in general?
Yeah.
That's something I'm curious about. How in that context do you go about it?
It's actually pretty interesting because a lot of the times when you DJ, you're next to the VIP tables.
Mm-hmm.
So not in all the clubs. I didn't DJ that much in clubs. So in clubs, not really. Like there's nobody that really comes up to you and you can speak to them. But we had an event by the lake, for example, for like a sunset at like a nice place in Lausanne. So for example, in this kind of context, we're two DJing, so we can take like switch. So I was DJing at first, saw people, you know, you always smile when you see people. You kind of, I think you can kind of point out who's who. So you see the people who are here just to get drunk. You see the people that are here just to have fun for the music. And you can see sometimes like there's parents just sitting there or like older people just sitting there like enjoying it, like not here for the dancing and all that partying kind of stuff. So a lot of the times what happens is I'll finish DJing and then it's my friend's turn to DJ. So I'll leave the sets to him and then I can start walking around and talking with people. So a lot of times people do come up and talk to me. So far, I actually did meet a few people. So the nice thing about being a DJ is that they invite you to events. So if there's an exclusive event that you're hosting, for example, you're having a like maybe a 3-course dinner at your chateau or something, then I'll probably get an invite and be there for free and just play music for you. I did get a few invites. I got an invite from a guy. I can't remember exactly what kind of business he used to do, but he kind of did a lot of money. And so he invited me to his birthday party. He wanted me to DJ for him. So I went to a very nice place and I DJed for him. And I got to speak to a lot of different people, made a few connections. Was there something really interesting that came out of it? Like, not that much. But it's more about the connections that I get from the current students that are at my university that's more important.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that there's a lot of people that have a lot of potential after they finish. And that have a lot of big goals in mind. So kind of investing early for later.
Okay. I have a few questions related to connections.
Okay.
So, one thing I wanted to ask you is with students, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about it? Because you know, some people are shy, they don't know how to talk, and I know you're friend with most of the people. How do you manage to talk with most of the people, even though you know you might have some differences, you might not always vibe with some of them, you
Yeah.
know? So how do you go about it? And would you say it's important sometimes to, even if you don't vibe with someone, to talk with them because maybe they know someone who you might vibe with?
Okay. I get it. Look, I think if you start networking with the idea in mind of I'm doing this for the networking, then you're kind of losing out on it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it just kind of just comes naturally. Like I love talking to people. I call it networking because that's basically what it is. It's just interacting with other people, befriending other people, and then if some of them have an opportunity for you, then that's amazing, right? For me, it's networking is very. It's like a big term to just say like meeting new people. There are like networking events where the sole purpose is to talk to other people in order to get opportunities. But for me, networking in general is just getting to know people that are around you. And then if you can benefit from that, then good. But if you can't, then you still benefited from the interaction that you got with the person. So I'm not going to go up and talk to a guy just because I'm like, all right, I can network thanks to that thing. It's more like, all right, that guy seems like a good guy. I want to go talk to him. I'll talk to him. Right. So there's a lot of different people in my university, a lot of different people with different personalities. I think in most cases, what I just do is just come up and say hi to people. And eventually you say hi one time, you say hi 2 times, you say hi 3 times, even if you feel like the person isn't necessarily vibe. And at some point the conversation just starts going. So I'm going to see you in the hallway, never talked to you before, never seen you before. They're like, hey man, how you doing? Sometimes one of them's going to answer, one of them's going to be like, I'm good, man. All right, I have to go, see you. And it's totally fine. It's just, you just talk with people. And eventually, well, you're going to meet great people or you can meet terrible people. And then you can be the judge of if you want to keep entertaining that relationship as friends or as maybe business partners or something, or if you just want to give it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you just have to try at every occasion you have. Like it takes out of my, like it has to be an effort. It has to feel like an effort. It has to feel like, it's not like, all right, when I feel like it, I'm going to start talking to people. For me, it's literally like I was pushing myself to be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to talk to as many people as possible at the start of the year, so I can kind of put an idea of like who I want to hang out with or who I want to be close with, because it's important to make sure, like, to understand who's in your circle, because you don't want negative influence on you. And then once I pushed myself totally for the first couple of weeks, I finally understood, all right, these people are good people. I like what they're doing. I like the way they're thinking. I want to get closer to these people. And then from there, you can start entertaining the relationship, in my opinion.
Okay.
Mhm. And I think just to add on that is it's very important to actually show interest in those people and not be the guy that just pretends to care about what you do.
People notice it. People
People,
notice it.
you notice it quite well, and so try and find a way to, or try and show real interest in what the person's doing, whatever their interest might be. And as long as you make them feel important, make them feel heard, that's going to leave a very good impression on
Yeah. That's something to that.
No, I was gonna ask you something, but I was gonna ask you, how do you manage to balance it? Because you put a lot of your effort into it, right?
Yeah.
How do you manage to balance it without burning out or still being able to, balance the other things you have to do in your life?
All right, that's a good question. I struggle with that. Like I struggled a lot, and I paid the price for not being able to balance that completely.
Mhm.
I feel like the most important thing is to remember that there's no point in networking and in talking to thousands of people if in the end you have no value yourself. So if I'm gonna get the connections that I want, or if I'm gonna get the 10,000 friends that I want to have, the problem is like, what are you gonna offer them? Because if it's friends, then you still need to offer something. In a friendship, it goes both ways. You have to offer time. You have to offer the ability to be there when they need something, right? But if you yourself cannot offer anything, then it's just a one-sided relationship. Because why would people come up and talk to you all the time if you don't have time to give them, if you don't have any knowledge to offer them, if you don't have like
Help.
exactly, if you don't have any help to offer them. So you can only stretch out yourself so far, and that's a tough lesson that I learned this year. Um, it's important to be there for other people. It's important to help other people, but if that takes over you and the time that you have for yourself, and you can no longer help yourself, well, if you can't help yourself, how do you want to continue helping other people? So you have to find a good balance between the two.
Yeah, I wanted to add something to that. So, I realized, me too, just like you, I need to get better at this. I'm not necessarily, probably you know more people than me, but like for example, in certain periods in time, I might give people some of my time, right?
Yeah.
When there was a task that needed to be done first, because I don't want the person to be sad or something like that, right? But I've come to realize that first of all, not every person can be your best friend.
Yeah, for sure.
And second of all, not every person will treat that effort you do the same way. Like some people will just, if you give that effort to someone, they will appreciate it. If you give it to another person, it will just be like you gave nothing.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm not saying you should be transactional, but humans are a little bit transactional
For sure.
to an extent by nature.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say, like, to me, for example, I went and I talked to certain people in coffee shops. I have not done it in a while now, but the reason for that is because I need to focus a little bit on myself.
Yeah.
I was doing it a bit too much, and at a certain time where I would go and talk to people and stuff. But right now, I need to focus on myself, because one thing about networking that people don't say is it's not just enough to get the connection, you have to nurture the connection,
True.
and that in itself takes time. And sometimes as well, you might go talk to the person, and then you think you have something in common from the first interaction. You talk more to them, and you realize we're not really this person's probably going to be someone I will know, you know, but
Yeah.
not more than that. So that's why I also think, because networking is one of those things that is super spread on socials, and for certain entrepreneurs, it can definitely change their life and certain business models.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, we also went to networking events, remember,
True.
when we were younger,
Right.
and we were like, I don't know what we were looking for, but we went there, we were looking for maybe friends or mentors or whatever, and we realized, oh, well, they saw that we were young, first of all, and that we didn't have much to give because
Yep.
at the time I was doing barely starting copywriting, you were doing something else. So that goes to show that you need to have some form of value yourself, and that networking is important, but also you have to build yourself first, in my opinion, up
I agree.
to reap from it the reward.
Yeah. Well, you have to be good enough to offer either, like, if you, I don't know, if tomorrow you meet Bill Gates and he offers you, and you talk with him and you're like, and he's like, all right, I can help you out, like, with whatever you need, just let me know. And you're like, oh, well, I still don't have my business idea. Then what are you going to benefit from that connection, right? Yeah, go on.
Well, you never know, and it's with anybody. Bill Gates is an extreme example because we all know that
Yeah.
he knows a bunch of people and he's quite valuable. But even the most random person on the street can be very valuable to you in the future for whatever reason. So
True.
to be nice and to leave a good impression on everybody and lots of people can always benefit. And I fucked up sometimes. I have left bad or not so good impressions to people. So I mean, it's okay to make mistakes in those parts, but try and leave it a good impression as much as you can, and I mean, not insult everybody and be
It's not that hard.
It's just make the small effort of trying to be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Even if it's the janitor or wherever it might be.
For sure.
Smile, and that'll leave a good impression.
Yeah. I think in general, if you're someone who's like good person in general, who's positive, who's respectful, you automatically do these things. As if you see a janitor, you smile, you just help someone when the door. But I just wanted to clarify something. When I was saying if you give an effort to someone and they don't give you that same effort, what I'm really saying is not change and be a dickhead. I'm just saying don't go out of your way for someone who's not also doing the same. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah, if you're not careful, people will take advantage of you. If you do too much, and so put in the effort for the guys that put in the same for you too.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the best way to say it.
Makes sense.
I don't know if there's something you wanted to say, maybe Dimitri, related to that, or add on.
I mean, I've been reading the book How to Win Friends and Influence, and you said before the podcast that you read it too, and I found it very interesting in a bunch of different ways. Like, look at people and smile while you see them was one of those things, and then also to just try and remember people's names.
Oof, yeah.
I'm not too good at that, but I try as much as I can. And if you don't understand someone's name,
Ask.
then try and make sure you make them repeat it. Or if it's a bit of a more difficult name, you can re-ask them how to pronounce it, and then making sure that the next time you pronounce it the right way. Because with difficult names, people will often have the problem that it's often spoken out the wrong way, and they're gonna appreciate it if you speak it out the right way.
Yeah, just FYI, my name's Yassine, not Yassin. Just
yeah, those type of things that can frustrate you, right? It can be, oh, come on. And so just to show that small form of respect has been a key takeaway from that book.
And people respect it if you ask for their name again. Like if you're not sure of the person's name and you come up to them and like, sorry, I didn't hear your name the first time. Could you please repeat it?
Yeah.
People respect that. No one is gonna be like, oh, why didn't you like learn it from the first time?
Yeah.
And people know if they have difficult names.
Yeah.
Like some people have complicated names and you have to ask them maybe like 2 or 3 times. Like, I'm sorry, I just didn't catch that.
Yeah.
But be respectful about it. Again,
for
not what did you say? Like, be a bit respectful about it and don't. Show them a form of respect.
For sure.
Yeah.
Is always gonna bring you far in life.
Yeah, I think it's super important. I kind of get frustrated when people get my name wrong or just forget it. But it's with hard names, it's not easy. So usually what I do is I ask them, and I might ask them again, politely, of course. But sometimes I tell them, hey, I just want to make sure I get it right out of respect. And honesty is important, honestly. Being honest sometimes is important to just helps, you know. So I think that's important.
What was some other maybe key takeaway from the
From
book?
the
From
book,
the
for
book
me,
in general for you?
for me, one thing I found interesting, which I agree with, is to an extent, is don't argue with people. I don't know if you read that one, but that was one of them. And I think this one is important. It's not always easy for a hothead like me, but the reason it's important is because, you know, with close friends, you can kind of argue a bit because you know each other and you try to debate. But with someone you just met, you might want to refrain from it, depending on how the relationship is. Because some
For sure.
people you might meet them the first time, and their nature is they want you to be honest with them. It's transparent. You can have an argument, and that's okay. But some other people, you have to be a little bit smart.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with people. It's not a one size fits all. You have to be wise enough, and that's why you need to be experienced and go through it and go talk to people because it will teach you how to interact with different ones. Some people, you can be honest from them and direct. They like that actually. They don't like it when you're beating around the bush. So, some other people, you have to give them the truth, or you can argue with them, but in a more careful way, you know?
Mm.
And that's pretty important. That was a good insight from the book. Eye contact was also one, I believe, from the book, and that's pretty important. Asking questions. Asking questions, well, it comes back to what Mark said about when you ask questions, it shows that you care about what they're talking about, especially when you make it about them, not about you.
Yeah, be genuinely interested.
Yeah, exactly.
Have genuine interest for whatever their passion or their life interest might be.
Exactly.
And that's also a form of respect. And what you said about the arguing is it's also being as simple as possible, not being too difficult. Because I mean, we're all the same. We don't like if people are too difficult, and every time you talk to them, it's a big mess because they're always trying to argue with you. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't want to meet with somebody that's awfully complicated,
Yeah.
and it's always a big pain to have an interaction with them for whatever reason. So
Yeah, that's true. That's
I was going to say, when it comes to arguing, I feel like there's always a place and time to do so.
oh yeah.
But I met a lot of people, for example, like at university. You start talking with them, it's your first lunch with them, you know, it's still pretty new. You don't really know why you're sitting there, but you're sitting there. And you start talking with them, and you're going to mention either an opinion or a belief or something. And then they're going to start attacking you for it and be like, oh, but why do you believe in this? This doesn't make sense. No, but you're wrong. Never leaves a good impression.
Yeah.
I mean, I met a lot of people with whom I disagree about a lot of things. But if he's respectful about his opinions and I'm respectful about mine, then everything's fine. And there's no point in making a big fuss out of something with someone who's not worth the energy of basically you arguing. Also, about being genuine with people, I feel like if you're pushing yourself too much to talk to people just for the benefit that you get from talking with that person, it's just not right. Like it doesn't feel right, first of all, to the person who's approaching you. Like if you feel like someone's coming up to you and he's like, all right, this guy's like being too nice, he's being too smiley, he's saying my name too many times at the end of each sentence, and he's asking too many questions about me. Like people realize that you want something from them, and it's not a good feeling. So I think like my take on that is really, if you don't feel like talking to a person, because you just like the only reason you want to talk to them is for an opportunity or something, then just don't do it. Don't do it. Except if it's like an opportunity of a lifetime. You know, if there's like I don't know, like a random guy in front of you that you know has a huge business, you don't necessarily want to talk to him, but you know that he has something huge and he could be of value to you. You could go up to him and make him understand that like you're not here to become friends, but you're here because you want something from him, and he will respect that.
I mean, yeah, it depends on honesty again. Like, it's a bit of a craftsmanship, I think, communication, because you have to be wise enough to know if, in the cases where you want something, how to say it in a way that doesn't come across as a salesman,
True.
but still get you what you want. And that comes with experience, I would say. And Mark's probably more fitted to talk about that than me because I have not had many interactions where I tried to sell or do something, but in person at least. But I had interactions where I was just trying to connect with someone, and in those cases, I always try to listen,
Mm-hmm.
ask genuine questions, also tell them about me because if someone, the thing is, it's always about not just following what you read in the book and being robotic 100%. You have to be also smart. So if the book said ask questions, it's not saying, "Hey, what's your name?" And then you ask a question back instead of giving them the answer. You know, like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe the "Hey, what's your name" is not a good example, but like,
No,
what's your favorite color? And then
I literally saw a video about a guy being like adding the name at the end of each sentence. I
oh,
believe in the book it says that you have to mention the name a
yeah,
lot, right? So it's like,
to remember.
hey Yassine, how you doing, Yassine? Ah, sorry. Is today a good day for you, Yassine? Is everything going well? All right, Yassine. Thank you, Yassine. Like it was a pleasure talking with you, Yassine. So it's like you don't have to overdo it. I feel like these books are important because you do understand how human psychology
Yeah,
works.
exactly.
It does teach you good things,
Yeah.
and if you're able to use them at some point, you're like, oh, I've been talking too much about myself. Maybe I can add in a couple of questions because like I don't want to make him feel like this is a one-sided conversation, or you know that it's important to mention people's names and he's going to feel more valued or she's going to feel more valued if you say her name, then you might pop up her name here and there. But the intention isn't to manipulate the person in front of you. You're not going to use that to be like, all right, I want to make sure that this guy becomes my friend, so I'm going to use all the techniques that I learned in the book to make sure that this connection is nurtured. Because it's
Yeah.
not natural. It's just
Yeah, you know, like the whole mirroring thing. Mirroring, you know,
mirroring. Yeah, yeah.
copy what the person is doing. That I used to do it at some point, but it always felt weird to me, honestly, because it just didn't feel genuine. Or when you have to smile, there was this trick I had read about in a book where it was like say great, and then when you say great, it makes you look like you're genuinely smiling by putting your wrinkles up. And no, I just think people overcomplicate network, like how to connect with others. Maybe because sometimes they have not figured out how to be comfortable in their own skin
Yeah.
and do it like in a way that is authentic. Because, like you said, if I don't feel like talking to someone, it doesn't make sense to go talk with them. If I'm drained by the conversation, I can exit politely, but I don't have to keep going and pretend that I care, you know? Uh, yeah, like I don't have to pretend like I want to continue this relationship,
Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Makes sense. What do you think?
I think, in my opinion, the genuine interest is just the most important thing.
Yeah.
And then try to not always look away and have some kind of eye contact, although it's not always easy. I'm not the best at having eye contact, but I try. And yeah, otherwise, try to have when you say things, have a structure of words and don't make too much pauses. I'm not perfect at all on this, but because I started vlogging and do a bunch of vlogs, that helped a lot to get better at this
Yeah.
and to just reflect on my own voice,
Yeah.
because we often don't do that. We hate hearing ourselves speak, and especially with doing this podcast, that has improved because you hear yourself speak and you see the mistakes you do, and then you can improve with it and maybe try and say less times and have sentences that flow a bit better and have less pauses.
Yeah, public speaking, content creation, they help a lot, in my opinion, with even if you were to just do it for yourself, the content, and you don't want to put it out there, or with a friend of yours where you just send each other videos or voice messages. I mean, we send each other mini podcasts all the time, but but it helps. It helps in my opinion.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. The feedback is all of it, and it's what we were talking before recording is having time to reflect on what you're actually doing sometimes can open your eyes wide instead of you always being focused on what you're doing, and then you forget to actually zoom out
Yeah.
and see what you're currently doing.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, does anyone have anything else to add?
Oh, good on my side.
Okay, good.
Well, yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Again, part two.
And part 2.
Part 2 of the
Part
e-begging
2.
is coming now. Yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Mark, for having us here because we're recording this at Mark's home. And yeah.
One last thing before we close off. Remember, we have to do the gratitude. What are three things?
We had 3
you're
things of
grateful
grateful. Yeah, so first things first, I'm grateful that Mark is having us here for the podcast. That's a good thing. I'm grateful to live in the country of Switzerland. It's been a massive amount of value that you have by living here. The opportunities are great. And then I am very grateful for my family and to have good friends like you guys around me.
All right. Well, I'm gonna start by saying I'm thankful to be on this podcast with the two of you guys. We don't see each other that often anymore, unfortunately, but so it's a good thing. I'm happy that you're here, Dimitri. Second thing I'm gonna be grateful for is all the hardships that has been sent our way. I feel like all the difficult times are full of things to learn and full of things that will help us improve in the future. So I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for, I'd say, I don't know. I want to say Switzerland as well. I feel like we're very, very lucky actually. When you said that, it just reminded me again. We're very, very lucky to be living in a country like Switzerland, where everything is pretty, like the opportunities we have are amazing. The views are pretty mind-blowing as well. And I'm grateful for all of this.
Well, I'm grateful to be, first of all, with both of you. It's always a pleasure, and that Mark let us stay here and record with him. I'm also quite grateful for this is something I don't think about a lot, but it's very important, which is that we live in this generation and in this time where we can use the internet to pass on messages that reach others, and also maybe even inspire, as well as do our work online and get paid from wherever we are. So I'm grateful to that. And I'm grateful to have my family, all of my family still alive. It's always such a good thing, and to have great friends like you. Yeah. And for you watching, tell us what are things you're grateful for. It's important.